Hello, in this video we'll learn how to enter OCDS data for projects that are done outside the e-procurement system. So now when you are logged into the PE account of the ministry, you want to fill in the data, you click on the menu administrative setup. When you click administrative setup, you have a list of items. You go to awarded contracts and you click. When you go to awarded contracts, you see this table that shows the list of data you have previously uploaded. This table is blank in this case because we've not previously done any one. So to do a new one, you click new. So when you click new, usually we have these 5 tabs. The first is the planning, second parties, tender, award and contract, and implementation. They capture the data in the different procurement stages. We have to fill in data in each of the tabs. So we are currently on the planning tab. So you scroll down. So we have some fields that are default, that has default values. So you leave those ones that has the default values. So the first we have here is the planning rationale. So I'm going to open the Excel file also that we are going to use. So we are using this Excel file. So for planning rationale, we are going to use the project title for that. So you just copy this from the Excel file that we have. So we paste it here. So once you click this, it brings the data to the project title as well. Then the next is the budget amount. So we go back to the Excel. So this is the budget amount from the Excel. So we copy, so we just paste there. Then you can see this one, planning budget project is inheriting data from the upper fields. So we leave it. So the release date, that's the date you are releasing this data to the public. So we just use today's date and time. Then the currency is NGN, that's Nigerian Naira. You leave it at that. The planning budget description, you leave it at this, but if there's any further description, you can include it. So these are dates. We have date of advert and date of bid opening. So we refer to this. Date of advert, we see is 18th February 2022. So we can put 10 a.m. there as the time. Then date of bid opening, as you can see, is 28th February 2022. So we put a time there. The implementation status. So if the project is still running, you put running. If the project uh, has is completed, you put complete. So once you've done that, you click save and continue. So we have successfully provided data at the planning stage. So we'll go to the next, which is the parties. Parties are the two parties involved, which is the procuring entity and the contractor. You can see the procuring party name is default, Bureau of General Services, and the ID. So the supplying party, that's the contractor. So here we put the contractor name. Then the supplying party ID, that's the CAC number of the contractor. So we put the contractor name, which is this. So we can check CAC, search.cac.gov.ng/list. We can, that's if the contractor CAC is not on the Excel, so we can get it from search.cac.gov.ng. So we'll put this contractor name and search to get the CAC number of this contractor. Okay, let me. So this is it. So this is CAC number. There is no message there, so maybe we may have to edit the name, because this is the name from CAC. So this is the ID. Concepts Limited. Obab Law Concepts Limited. Okay. So this is the correct name. Then the address is also on CAC, or we can use the address from here. Okay. You can see it's almost same as what we have in CAC. Then supplying party locality, that's the local government. Kubwa is under Buhari local government. Buhari local government. The region is FCT. Region means state. Then the postal code, that's the postal code of the region. If you don't have it, you put NA, or you put 00910, or you put NA if you don't have it. So the email, if you have the email, you need the email and the phone number. So let's copy the phone number from here. We don't have the email, so for the email we put NA. Then the phone number, I put 0 before I pasted that. So you leave all these ones that are default, you leave them as they are, then you click save. Then the next is tender. So on tender page now, so we select the procurement method. So let's refer back here and see what is the procurement method. Direct procurement, and procurement category is services. So direct services, procurement method details. So you can say direct procurement, procurement method rationale. You can just put direct there. Then sorry, this is direct tender. You can say price. The award criteria is not given in the Excel, so let's just use, let's say, price, quality, or rated criteria. Say quality since it's services. There we have our award criteria details. Say awarded to most qualified. Leader. Submission method. We have two submission methods. We have written and electronic. If it is done manually, then it's written. If it is done through the system, it's electronic. Submission method details: written, then for this date you don't need to click. You go back to planning, you click on this advert, you click outside, you click on bid opening, you click outside again, then you go back to tender. You see these dates would have been transferred here. So what you just need is just these two dates, which is the award period. You can say the award period is okay, let's check from the Excel. Let's check the contract start and contract, and contract is from 1st March. Okay, the award date is 1st March. Contract is from 1st March 2022 to 28th of February 2023. That's 1 year. So contract starts, okay, award is 1st March 2022, then 1st March to February 28th 2023. So let's make the so this is 1st March 2022. So we can change this to 01 p.m. Yeah, so now we have all the important dates. So the next is the tender documents. Can change it to PDF. Then the tender item classification. So this is the classification ID. So this classification ID, you go to your UNSPSC, you right click, you open a new tab. So you check what is the title of this project: maintenance of Governor's Lodge. So when you open the UNSPSC, you allow it to finish loading. So this is a maintenance work. So you say maintenance, building and facility maintenance and repair. This is it. So you copy this, we copy the code, that is the ID, take note, this is tender /item / additional classification /ID. Here you have 0, that is the precarious entity, because you see slash 0, that's the first party. In computer you start from 0 to 1 upwards. The first number is 0, that's why slash 0 means it is the precarious entity. Slash 1 is the supplying party, which is the contractor, but you don't need to bother about all this. These are just some of the technical aspects. So the next is, you notice some of these fields already have data, so you leave those ones that has data. So the description, you can either use tender description, or you can go back here and copy the description we have here. Either way, either use the tender description here, or you copy the UNSPSC description. But for here, tender description, you use the tender title. Then we have status. For status, the tender status is complete because they have finished the tendering. Then the precarious entity identifier scheme, this is NG-TIN, that's the procurement party identifier scheme. For the supplying party, their own is NG-CAC. So the unit, tender item unit, you can say this is not in quantity, you can say number, because it's one. Then the item quantity is one, is one number of building. Then we have the tender has inquiries. This is true or false, yes or no. So let's say true. Then the tender delivery address, that's the location of where this project was executed. So this is Governors Osun State Governors Lodge, Asokoro, Abuja. So that's the address. The number of tenderers, 1, since it's direct. Then this date, that's date when the tender was published, 18th of February 2022. So location, here we also paste what we have there. The project cost, so we use project cost from the Excel. This is the project cost. Copy. Then we have the year is 2022, budget year 2022. Once you've done this, you save. So after you've saved, it will take you to the next tab. The next tab is award. So contract status is complete because the contract has ended 18th February 2023. You see some of these fields, they are inheriting data from the previous tabs. So the classification scheme is UNSPSC. So the contract amount, the same amount as we have there. Then once you've done this, you click save. Okay, the award date, correct this. This is, let's go back. Award date is 1st of March. Contract sign date, this is also 1st of March. So we'll make the necessary corrections. So once you make correction, you save again to update. And the next is the contract and implementation. Most of this already has default data, so you just go through it. If it's okay with what you have, you click save. So that's the last field, the last tab, then the publish, go to publish, then you click publish. So once you publish it, it's now gone to the main system. See, now on this we have this field, we have a single line of item here. So if you want to edit this, you can click edit and you edit anything you want to edit, and but you must save again when you edit. So if I go to the Osun State e-procurement system, I go to OCDS portal, I click this. So if I search Governor's Lodge now, you see I have this data here, Governor's Lodge. So these are the data that we just filled in. Everything is showing here. So this feedback is when the general public wants to provide feedback for this data. Thank you.